Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to the first annual TXN Sports World Football Feast. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Normally, I know everybody's thinking, what about Wednesday Night Madness? Well, no. For this week, Wednesday Night Madness is on the burner. However, it will be back at its normal time next week. But for this week, it's an annual tradition we've been doing for the last 10 years under a different banner. But this is the first one under our new banner, TXN Sports World. It's the same show that we've always done. We're going to preview the 3 Thanksgiving games in the NFL, and we're going to preview rivalry week in college football, week number 13. So without any further ado, gentlemen, let's dive right on in. Here we go. The NFL starts it off, and we started off tomorrow afternoon with a kickoff of 12:30 on CBS, as it will be my Buffalo Bills squaring off against the Detroit Lions from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson will be on the call for this one. Buffalo opening up as a 9.5-point favorite. Buffalo leads the all-time series 6-4 with a tie. That tie came in their very first meeting in 1972, a 21-all tie in Buffalo in 72. Good news, Bills Mafia. We've won the last 3 in a row against the Lions in the meetings. Last meeting, 2018, in Buffalo. Buffalo won 14-13. Last meeting in Detroit, 2014. Buffalo won that one 17-14. The Lions last beat the Bills overall and at home at Ford Field back in 2006. That was a 20-17 final. So with that, let's start off the first ever TXN Sports World Football Feast. Let's get my notes here. All right, here we go. The Bills had some experience adjusting to Ford Field, although Josh Allen continued to slump. They had to be pleased about getting the traditional running game going and also spreading the ball around more effectively in the passing game. The Lions' young defense has played much better of late and made some big plays, but they struggle to multiple diverse offenses. Jared Goff hasn't played all that well during the Lions' winning streak, and the negative game script will take them out of sticking with the run. GA17 has his best game in a month with a Buffalo win coming. Detroit has lost on Thanksgiving each of the last 4 years. The Lions tightened up against the run against the Giants last Sunday, but Allen's mobility is going to be an issue for this defense. Devin Singletary and James Cook will get in on the action, and that will set up play action for Buffalo's receivers. Detroit, however, continues to improve around an offense that features a few playmakers in DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff will have a solid game as well, but the pressure of keeping up with Buffalo in the second half will lead to a pair of turnovers. Von Miller chips in a pair of sacks, and Buffalo will win. So I got the Buffalo Bills winning this game. High-scoring game, entertaining game. 34-27. I think Buffalo escapes Detroit with a win. These Lions are not to be taken lightly. I am damn sure not taking them lightly, especially after what they did to the Giants last week in the Meadowlands and MetLife. So, but I do think Buffalo will get it done. I mean, they had to play at Ford Field this past Sunday because of all that snow in Buffalo, 6.5 feet of snow that fell in the Buffalo Orchard Park area. And they got by the Cleveland Browns, and I think they'll get by the Lions. It'll be another close win. That's what they've been doing lately. But I do think the Buffalo Bills will pull it out, make it 2 in a row following that 2-game losing streak, and then get ready for that big showdown with Bullock's Patriots next Thursday night. So 34-27, I got Buffalo winning, so not much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. When the schedule came out, we were thinking potential Zonk game perhaps, but this game came in as our, believe it or not, this is our number 3 game of the week. Go figure.
Yeah, number 3 game of the week, no doubt about it. And I gotta say, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. When you talk about Buffalo, yeah, a lot of people's been saying, with JA-17 committing a lot of turnovers lately, is it that is he in the midseason slump? It's possible he's in the midseason slump. He has thrown multiple ints, everything else. He was a little more protective with the football this time around than he was the last time out. Which is a good sign for Buffalo fans. Of course, you talked about the running game where it was non-existent for a little while. Now it looks like they really turned the corner. It looks like they really figured it out. As for Detroit offensively has been one of the most underrated offenses in all of the NFL. As a matter of fact, they are a top 10 scoring offense. Um, they've been a top 10 scoring offense lately. But what's really been the key in their 3 game winning streak that they've won 3 in a row, Anthony, and Mike, you need to listen to this, has actually been their defense. They've really ratcheted it up. Their secondary has been getting a lot more better, causing a lot of turnovers. And on top of that, they've been able to keep the teams under. The average has been under 30 points, and when they do that, they've actually done really well. What we saw against the Giants is basically them establishing that if you're going to beat us, you're not going to be able to beat us through the ground. We are going to shut you out. We're going to shut you down. And all of a sudden, the defense of Detroit has been rising. It's getting better. It's starting to tighten up a little bit. Now, if their offense can continue the output that they could, this could give Buffalo some cause for a caution for pause. Now, obviously, Buffalo is an overwhelming favorite. A lot of people have Buffalo winning this game, and I do agree. But Anthony, you are absolutely right. This is not an easy team to beat. This is not an easy team to figure out. If you start going into a dogfight with Detroit, they are not afraid to go punch for punch with you. I know it because I saw that same mentality that they did against the Miami Dolphins. They jumped on Miami fast, and they jumped on them for 14 points. The only difference was second half, Miami just shutted them down, and they basically took them completely out of the game. Their damage that they did was all in the first half. Second half, they couldn't get nothing going. Offensively, they did not go, and everything else. I feel like that is kind of the blueprint what Buffalo's going to have to do against Detroit. And what that is try to get pressure early. And you got to establish to take the run game out and try to contain Ahmed St. Brown. If you can get St. Brown, hold him down to maybe 50, 60, 70 yards and not let him get going and get crazy, that's where Detroit really they hang their hat on more than anything else. So if they start getting into a rhythm, a mojo early, Buffalo, you better watch yourself. But I do believe Buffalo will figure it out. The thing is, lately, the reason why they've been losing the last couple of games because they lost 2 out of the last 3 heading into this. The reason why was because JA-17 was shooting himself in the foot. He was trying to be a hero where he didn't need to be a hero. He was trying to do a hero ball, try to throw some passes and try to throw some things, try to throw it in pockets where he had no business throwing it to. And that's the reason why he got himself lit up, especially the most notable, that last interception that ended the game where Buffalo lost to Minnesota. We'll get into Minnesota because I got a few choice words for that later on. But besides the point, I believe Buffalo will get the job done. I believe they will win this game. So, Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Josh Allen has definitely he's been in that midseason slump. I mean, he was under 200 yards, and yeah, and the other thing is, like you said, the turnovers have basically killed him. I mean, especially the one that sealed their overtime loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Detroit, they are definitely not to be taken lightly, and especially after the way they've been playing lately, especially what they did against the New York Giants in MetLife Stadium. So, yeah, the defense is definitely playing a lot better, and Buffalo better not take them lightly, or if they do, I think we're going to see an upset tomorrow. But I'm with the majority here. I got to go with the Buffalo Bills to win this one. 31-24 is my final. Florio, let's move on to the next game.
Yes, sir. Next game, 4:30 or so. Here we are, boys. It will be the New York Giants squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys. Yep, 4:30 kickoff. Huge game. You can most certainly make an argument this is the game of the week on the other side of the ledger, the NFC side, as it will be the New York Giants squaring off against the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T Stadium, Jerry World, Arlington, Texas. On Fox, Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. Dallas opening up as a 10-point favorite. Second meeting. They already met earlier this year. They met in week 3 on Monday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys won the game 23-16. So Dallas now leads the overall series 72-46 with 2 ties. And they've now won 3 in a row against the Giants, including the Cowboys have actually done very well against the Giants in Dallas. They've won the last 5 meetings in Dallas, including a 44-20 beatdown last year. The Giants' last win in Dallas was in 2016. That was a 20-19 final. All right, MF, huge game. The game of the week on the NFC side. Both teams at 7-3. And they are basically playing for second place in the NFC East behind Philadelphia, but huge playoff and NFC East implications in this one.
Yeah, and the thing is that one team looked really, really good a week ago, and one team did not.
We
Dallas
should know. We had them.
Yeah, Dallas came out blitzed.
Unbelievable
Performance against the Minnesota Vikings.
5 stars.
Absolutely. They got people thinking Super Bowl. Like, that's how crazy the Cowboy fans are. You know it, Florio, because I know you must know some Cowboy fans. I know a few friends of mine who are Cowboys fans. Boy, this whole week was like, Mikey, did you see Dallas? Did you see what we did to the Vikings? And now do you believe? It's one of those things where deep down, they believe in their heart of hearts that they are the team to beat in the NFC, that they are Super Bowl worthy contenders. And let me tell you, they are. And the thing is that what they did was they flipped the script a little bit. They established a running attack. They went and had Ezekiel Elliott and most definitely Tony Pollard went absolutely berserk. That defense with Micah Parsons, who I don't give a rat's ass what anybody freaking says, this man is the defensive player of the year, and there's no argument.
Amen.
No debate. I hear about Sauce Gardner from the New York Jets. I hear about Matthew Judon from the New England Patriots. I've heard some talk about maybe it could be Bradley Chubb from the Miami Dolphins. No, screw all that crap. I don't want to hear it. Micah Parsons is the defensive player of the year, period, and a quotation and a statement. Nothing more to say. If you're the New York Giants, what's the one thing that you've been able to do that Dallas, that no other team's been able to stop on Dallas? Establish a running attack. You gotta feed Ezekiel, not Ezekiel. You gotta do Saquon Barkley. You got to get him going, and you got to utilize something, play action, get Daniel Jones out of the pocket, because you don't know how good that pocket's going to be. And especially with the attack that Dallas brings to the table, they're going to be bringing a lot of pressure, a lot of heat. There's going to be some fire. There's going to be some fire coming from the Cowboys. So if you're New York, quick outs, quick passes, dunk downs to Saquon Barkley. If you get that, you could actually move it on Dallas. But the thing is that when you got guys on the outside, and there's some beef on the outside, and then you got secondary, linebacking core and secondary where Dallas is pretty stacked, but there are moments where Dallas is a little leaky on the backs. When it comes to the secondary, we always talk about Tavon Diggs. Look, Diggs last year was by far the best defensive player on the Cowboys, and as a matter of fact, probably one of the biggest shutdown corners in the league. This year, he hasn't been that much. He hasn't had that big success. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of boys who threw his butt into Cinnabar Island and roasted him, Holiday Ham style, a la my good friend Kaiser Vierge. But Dallas is going to be the better team. On paper, they are better than New York. This is going to be a tug and pull type of game. This is going to be one of those type of games where you're going to see a lot of momentum shifting and everything else. The biggest factor of this game is field position. Whoever gets the best field position throughout the game, and maybe, just maybe, who has the ball last, because it could end up being one of those type of games. Last team to hold the ball might be the one to win it all. So give me Dallas to win. This is going to be tight, just like the first battle, but I think even closer. 28-24, Dallas wins. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
I was going to make the case for Matthew Judon to be Defensive Player of the Year, but after hearing what Fletch said, I think I'm just going to leave it at that, because that is why Michael Fletcher, this is why we call him our hype man. He brought it to the table. He made the case for Micah Parsons. And you know what? I'm not even going to argue with it. But especially after what that Dallas defense did to the Minnesota Vikings. That was just a complete A-plus effort by the Dallas Cowboys offensively and defensively. And they made the case that they should be the team to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And I'm buying into that hype right now. But let's not forget, guys. Need I say more? 2016, they went 14-2, and they were the number one seed. And what ended up happening, Florio?
The Giants upset them.
No. I'm talking about 2016 in the divisional round.
2016. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys. They got upset by the Green Bay Packers. Rodgers to Cook. We'll all never forget it.
Yeah, so we need to be careful with what we say about it. But I'm buying into it, but I'm just going to be very cautious because of that. But anywho, the Giants, what can you say? It was one of their roughest performances in a while, losing to the Detroit Lions here. So I think they're going to be competitive here. They should really give Dallas some fits, but in the end, I got the Cowboys winning this one. So it is yours, Florio.
The Cowboys won the first meeting 23-16 in week 3, but Saquon Barkley made an impact. He had 126 total yards and a touchdown, and Daniel Jones was working with a limited group of receivers. The loss of Wan'Dale Robinson with a torn ACL will not help in that regard, and Dak Prescott will be on the field for the rematch. Tony Pollard's emergence in the offense has been a plus. He has averaged 155 total yards in the last 3 games. CeeDee Lamb had a touchdown. Micah Parsons, who was quiet in the first meeting, makes his presence felt as well. The Cowboys break a 3-game losing streak on Thanksgiving. The Giants aren't dependent too much on the downfield passing game and will stay patient running Saquon Barkley after he failed to become a real factor against the Detroit Lions. Daniel Jones' rushing supplement also can keep New York in a key division rivalry rematch from a 23-16 Dallas road win in Week 3. Dak Prescott will be playing this time, but the Cowboys' identity much of late. The number is just a little too big for teams that mostly play each other tight. In the end, it's advantage Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott with their QB over Barkley and Jones. I got the Dallas Cowboys winning this game as well. My final score, 30-20. I got Dallas beating the Giants. And our third and final NFL game tomorrow, 8:20 kickoff. The first of 2 games that will be on NBC here this week. And it's also on our side of the ledger. This is our game of the week, believe it or not. It's going to be Michael Bullock's New England Patriots squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings, US Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota, on NBC. Mike Tirico will be there. Chris Collinsworth will not be. Mike Tirico is going to be working with Tony Dungy and Jason Garrett. So it'll be Mike Tirico, Tony Dungy, Jason Garrett in the booth. Melissa Stark will be on the sideline. So we got that. Minnesota opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. However, the New England Patriots lead the all-time series 9-4. And Bullock, I know this will very much encourage you when I say your Patriots have won the last 5 meetings in a row against the Vikings, including the last meeting 2018 in Foxborough, 24-10. Last meeting in Minnesota, 2014. New England in a rout, 30-7. The Vikings' last home win against the Patriots, you got to go all the way back to 1997 when Minnesota won in the Metrodome 23-18. So, Michael Bullock, it's only fitting you started off. I mean, I started with my team, and you'll be starting off with your team, your Patriots. Very dramatic win against the Jets. A little controversy. They said there might have been a block in the back there, but they said it was from the side, I guess. I don't know what the story is, but let's not dwell on that. Point is, your Patriots coming off a humongous win against the Jets on a walk-off punt return touchdown with 5 seconds to go in a Michael Fletcher defensive battle that only MF would love. And Bullock, your Patriots, you remember last year they started slow, got hot, and then they fell off. But same thing so far this year. Started rough, but they've come on as of late. But boy, Bullock, oh, you got a major test ahead of you.
Yeah, they're going up against a Vikings team that really fell flat on their faces last week against the Cowboys. And boy, howdy, I mean, after coming off a dramatic win over the Buffalo Bills, this is the kind of performance they put up. Ooh, that is not good if you're a Vikings fan. And they need a statement win. And if this is going to be the game that they really need it to solidify themselves as one of the main contenders in the NFC when it comes to representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. The Patriots, they're coming off of a humongous win over the Jets thanks to that punt return for a touchdown with 5 seconds left. But the thing that's really been carrying them is the defense and the special teams. Offensively, it's been, well, it's been okay, but it's not like anything really that special. I mean, they really need the real Mac Jones to show up eventually, because you're going up against a Vikings team that's going to be hungry, and that's really wants a nice win here. So I mean, as a fan, I want the Patriots to win, but professionally, I got to go with the Minnesota Vikings here. I mean, they're upset. They want some payback, and I think this is the get-right game for them to get back on track. So I got Minnesota winning this one. It's yours, Florio.
The Vikings' 8-2 record has come under fire after the Cowboys ripped them 40-3 at home following their miracle road rally over the Buffalo Bills in Week 10. Kirk Cousins got rattled. Into nothingness versus Dallas's defense. He doesn't tend to play well in prime time, and New England's defense under Bill Belichick is also concerning. But between Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson, the Vikings have the options to score enough points here, as the Patriots' offense is severely limited with a shaky Mac Jones. Give me 1 second here. Kirk Cousins is in prime time, and the Vikings are looking to bounce back from a 40-3 blowout loss to the Cowboys. Cousins has started twice against the Patriots, once with Washington and once with Minnesota, and his teams averaged 10 points in those losses. The Patriots are winning with a defense that has allowed just 23 points over the last 3 weeks, and Matthew Judon has 4.5 sacks in that stretch. Minnesota has to get off to a fast start, but Belichick will try to take away Justin Jefferson. But will it work? The Patriots have not been great on offense. Mac Jones has taken 16 sacks the last 3 weeks. It's tempting to pick New England for an upset here, but Dalvin Cook gets Minnesota's offense going, and Kirk Cousins does not make the big mistake. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to win this one as well. Low-scoring game. I'm going to say 20-14. Minnesota gets back on track. Bullets Patriots will give them one hell of a try, but I think Minnesota will get the bounce back here. I'm going to say 20-14. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phil Simms to my Jim Nance. We saw it firsthand last week. The Minnesota Vikings coming off that emotional win, miracle win in Buffalo, Minneapolis Miracle Part 2. But boy, oh boy, did they fall flat on their face. Do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yeah, they did. And as far as New England goes, offensively, they did not look spectacular either. Defensively, they were great. Offensively, they were absolutely horrible. As a matter of fact, I actually thought that we were going to see Bailey Zappi come into the game because Matt Jones was not doing it for New England. Not at all. So offensively, they were absolutely stymied. What gave them the big win, or what gave them the incredible performance at the end, was because of the fact that they just were able to do what they needed to do. They brought everything together. They looked a lot more sharper on offense and defense and everything else. And it was one of those type of situations where you're just like, what the heck is going on with New England? And with Minnesota, like you said, we were so excited about what the prospects, Dallas versus Minnesota, everything else. They literally got blasted. I mean, it was from the minute go, and Dallas jumped them. It got so bad that, sorry guys, if you guys were watching on CBS, for all you CBS folks, I know you guys were listening to me and Anthony, and you're like, hey, what the heck happened? Hey, not our fault. That's CBS's call. We unfortunately, you guys were forced into another game because we were done. We were done. Pack up the headsets. We were gone at that point. So I mean, those are the worst kind of games. When it's pretty one-sided and it's a blowout. And I hate to say it, but me and Florio, we were looking for any type of way to get out of that game. But I will say this. I get it where I know a lot of people's like, oh, Minnesota's going to bounce back. Minnesota's going to be fine. They're going to win the game, whatever. Really? You honestly think so? Kirk Cousins does not have a good track record playing in primetime games. He doesn't. I think he's only won one game. And on top of that, the Patriots, defensively, they're becoming one of the underrated defenses again in the NFL. I think they're pretty close to top 10 again in defense. I think they can stymie Kirk Cousins, frustrate him throughout the night, and get to him. The only problem New England has right now is offensively. I just have no faith in Mac Jones. I don't. And I don't believe that he is the answer. Honestly, I think whatever that project or anything that we were looking at the time, I don't think it's there anymore. I think he's lost the. I'm not going to say he lost the locker room, but he's not as good as what he was. And honestly, you're going to have to rely on the running attack, and maybe you're going to have to do it the old way. And what I mean is having him do what Tom Brady was doing at the beginning of his career, the Super Bowl 36 run, where you just need him to be a game manager. Don't throw the big mistakes. Rely on your running attack and your defense, and that might get you to the finish line. Now, I know everybody's going to be like, oh, Minnesota's going to bounce back, this and that, everything else. If you notice, the AFC is a lot more better than a lot of people are thinking. And right now, this is one of those games that I know this is supposed to be a get-right game, but this is the perfect game to see the Patriots rise again. Under the lights, on Thanksgiving, nobody's giving them much of a chance, but that's the way the Patriots would probably like it right now. They like to be the underdog. They like for everybody to think that, oh, they don't stand a chance. So, as much as I know this is going against everything I believe in, I'm about to do something that I never ever thought I would ever do. I'm calling for the upset. I'm calling for the New England Patriots to go into Minnesota and knock off the Vikings. I think the Vikings are exposed. I think that they are fool's gold, and I am not believing the hype that they were at the beginning of the year. I think the blueprint was laid out, and if the Patriots are smart, you take what Dallas gave you and you utilize that to your advantage. And if there's ever a coach that could take that film and dissect it and utilize a game plan better than any other coach in the National Football League, it's Bill Belichick. You can never underestimate this man. So, with that said, ow! I'm lone wolfing this, boys.
Yes! Yes!
Knocks off the Minnesota Vikings and wins this game 23-14. Anthony, it is yours.
That just made my night.
I had a feeling that would, Bullock. So, yeah, you never know. It could happen. We'll see. But that's it for the NFL for right now. We'll get into the rest of the slate on Saturday night, NFL Saturday. So, and of course, we'll talk about the Thanksgiving games we just did. We'll recap them, give some brief thoughts. But right now, let's get into the real main event here, the other half of this big main event, I should say. College football's rivalry week is finally here, and this year there are a lot of matchups that have playoff implications. Number 3 Michigan will go on the road to face number 2 Ohio State. Number 5 USC will play number 13 Notre Dame at home, and number 4 TCU plays Iowa State at home. So with that being said, let's dive right on in. 21 games of rivalry week, and we started off with a game that will actually go down tomorrow night as part of Thanksgiving. I mean, you already have 3 NFL games. How about we throw in the Egg Bowl on top of that? As the number 20 Ole Miss Rebels will be at home against their most hated rivals, the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, ESPN. Matt Berry, Louis Riddick, and Harry Lyles Jr. will have the call. Ole Miss opening up as a 2-point favorite. So here we go. The Egg Bowl rivalry is always a fun one, and it's the only FBS game played this Thanksgiving night. Lane Kiffin is 2-0 in this rivalry since arriving in Oxford, but since the Rebels have dropped 2 straight games to Alabama and Arkansas, this could be Mississippi State's year. The Bulldogs are 7-4, but all of their losses came against teams that are either currently ranked or were ranked at the time of play. Bulldogs quarterback Will Rogers leads the SEC in passing yards with 3,474 yards and 32 touchdowns on the season. Given Ole Miss 2-game losing streak and this being a rivalry game, the Rebels are slight 2-point favorites. Ole Miss losing 42-27 to a struggling Arkansas team might have us a little hesitant to pick the Rebels in this one, but I believe they can win at home. So I'm going to say Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl. Late touch, they'll put it away with a late score. I'm going to say 30-17. Ole Miss defeats Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. So not much more to say. MF, we kick off the college football portion of Football Feast with the Egg Bowl. Mississippi State and Ole Miss Turkey night tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good game. It's going to be an interesting matchup. But I'm with you. I think this is going to be Ole Miss. Yes, it's not going to be the most easiest battle and probably the most easiest matchup to call, but I do believe that they are a better team. I do believe they got the body of work. I love what they've been bringing to the table. And I do believe that when this Egg Bowl is over, yeah, I do believe that it will go to Ole Miss. So I think Ole Miss wins it. And Michael Bullock, it's yours.
And like you said, this is a great way to end your Thanksgiving Day with. Of course, you start off with the NFL action. You end it with the Egg Bowl with two long-standing rivals in Ole Miss and Mississippi State. This should definitely be a good one, but I think in the end I got to go with the Ole Miss Rebels to win this one. So that being said, Florio, let's move on to the Friday portion of the schedule to continue on with this Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes, sir. And we got 5 of them. 5 Friday games, gentlemen. And here we go, including 2 in the noon window. Friday at noon, we have the first game, as it will feature the number 23 Texas Longhorns at home at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin. And they're going to be hosting the Baylor Bears. Mark Jones, Robert Griffin III, Quint Kessenich will be on the call. Texas opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. MF, Baylor and Texas to kick off the Black Friday portion of rivalry week.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be a good one too. I'm thoroughly interested to see how this one plays out. Look, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Going into this, obviously there was a little bit of some trepidation for Texas because of the way they've been playing this season, and they've had their ups and downs. It's like there's been some good moments, there has been some bad moments, but I do believe that when it's all said and done, Texas, I think, is going to rise to the occasion one more time, and I got Texas winning this game. I just feel like, whenever we count Texas out, they just come back and do something really special. So I got Texas winning. I got nothing more to say, and Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got Texas winning this one as well. I think they're going to rise to the occasion, and they're going to basically handle their business with the Baylor Bears. So I got Texas winning this one. It's yours, Florio.
Texas is having a successful season in Steve Sarkisian's second year in Austin. A year after going 5-7, the Longhorns are 7-4 following a 55-14 win over Kansas last week, avenging their loss to the Jayhawks last season. Baylor, meanwhile, is coming off a heartbreaking loss to TCU. The Bears had a chance to upset the number 4 ranked team in the nation, but the Horned Frogs nailed a 40-yard game-winning field goal at the buzzer to remain undefeated. Baylor is 6-5 on the season, a big drop-off from the Bears' 12-2 season a year ago, in which Baylor won the Big 12 championship. Baylor and Texas have split their last 4 contests, but the latter is currently an 8.5-point favorite. Baylor's defense might have a tough time defending Texas running back Bijan Robinson. Last week against Kansas, he rushed for 243 yards and 4, give up an average of 131 yards on the ground a game. I think this one could be a close one, but I'm with you guys. I like the Longhorns at home here as well. 24-20, Texas defeats Baylor. The other 12 noon game on Friday on ABC features the number 24 Cincinnati featuring the number 19 Tulane Green Wave. I went a little out of order, but that's all right. I guess I'm just so excited about it. The number 19 Tulane Green Wave against the number 24 Cincinnati Bearcats. Nippert Stadium, Cincinnati, on ABC. Roy Philpott, Andre Ware, and Paul Carcaterra will be on the call. Cincinnati opening up as a 1-point favorite. Bullock, there's no doubt about it. Sleeper game of the week. Number 19 Tulane against number 24 Cincinnati.
Yeah, this is definitely a sleeper game of the week here. I mean, yeah, Cincinnati is the slight favorite, but I don't know. There's something about this Tulane team, and I think that can pull in and win this. I mean, it's been a long time since we've heard of Tulane playing this well. I mean, Tulane. I mean, I think they could go in and win this one, but yeah, this is a tough one here. So I'm actually going to take a chance, and I'm going to say Tulane will go in and win this one, and I think they're going to win this one in overtime. That's how close I think it's going to be. So it's yours, Florio.
Friday's game between Cincy and Tulane is a pretty big one for the American Athletic Conference. Both of these teams sit atop the conference, so whoever wins will host the title game. The loser could end up in a three-way tie with UCF and Houston. Cincinnati has won the last 4 over Tulane, but the Green Wave are having a great season, enjoying its first ever campaign ranked inside the college football playoff. The Green Wave and Bearcats have identical 9-2 records, with the former losing to Southern Miss and UCF, and the latter losing to UCF and Arkansas. The Bearcats may be at a disadvantage in this one due to their quarterback situation. Cincy quarterback Ben Bryant exited last week's game against Temple with a foot injury. Backup Evan Prater replaced him and threw for 127 yards in a 23-3 win. It's unclear what Bryant's status is for Friday. If he can't play, I think Tulane's offense, which is tied for 25th in scoring nationally, will overpower the Bearcats' defense. I believe in the Green Wave. I'm calling for what I believe would be, despite the fact that they're the better ranked team, I'm going to consider this an upset given, success and experience. I'm going with Tulane. I think Tulane steals it. 34-28. Tulane steals one at Nippert. So not much more to say here. MF, your thoughts on our sleeper game of the week?
Yeah, this is a sleeper game of the week, no doubt about it. And it seems like everybody's going Tulane here. So, I mean, it's possible, no doubt about it. I mean, the way they've been playing lately, everything that's been going on, I gotta agree with it too. I think it's gonna happen. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Tulane Green Wave as well. I think it will be an upset here. So nothing more to say. Florio, back to you.
Well, is there something you wanted to say, or?
Oh,
okay, yeah, you had your mic on. All right, just wanted to be sure. Okay, guys, let's get back into it. The Friday schedule here. Next up, it's the Battle of North Carolina, as it will be the number 17 North Carolina Tar Heels hosting the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Keenan Memorial Stadium, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This game will be over on ABC, 3:30 kickoff. Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Tom Luganbill will have the call. North Carolina opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. Both of these teams are coming off some disappointing results in recent weeks. The Wolfpack have dropped their last 2 straight against Boston College and Louisville. North Carolina gave up 21 unanswered to Georgia Tech in a 21-17 loss last week. Nonetheless, North Carolina still has one of the most explosive offenses in the nation. Quarterback Drake May leads the nation in total offense with 4,211 total yards and has accounted for 39 total touchdowns. In the loss to Georgia Tech, May had his worst game of the season, throwing for just 202 yards and an interception. May has to be careful with the football against NC State's defense, which is tied for the 4th most interceptions on the season at 16. The last 2 games in this rivalry series have been won by the home team. I think UNC has a lot to prove heading into its ACC championship game matchup against Clemson. So I like the Tar Heels here. I'm going to say North Carolina wins this one 24-17. North Carolina defeats NC State in the Battle of North Kakalaki. So not much more to say here. MF, NC State's disappointments were one thing, but Carolina losing to Georgia Tech? No.
I know that's the kicker. That is the kicker. You're wondering what on earth? What are you doing? Why did it happen? Um, I gotta say, at the end of the day, I do believe that when it's all said and done, yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think North Carolina wins this. I think Carolina wins this, and we'll wait and see how this plays out. So there's really nothing more to add, Anthony. So Michael Buck, I'll give it to you. I got North Carolina winning as well.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with everyone here. I gotta go with the North Carolina to win this one as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to add to it. So let's move on for it.
All right, and MF will lead off on the next matchup as we have a 4:30 kickoff on Friday, and it will feature the now number 18 UCLA Bruins on the road against the California Golden Bears. California Memorial Stadium in Berkeley. This game will be over on Fox with Dan Hellie and Petros Papadakis. UCLA opening up as a 10-point favorite. MF, oh boy, UCLA. Oh man, they had SC, man. They gave SC one hell of a try and then some, but they came up just a bit short, and now they got to go to Cal.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're gonna bounce back. They're mad. They're mad. They let that one get away. They know they had SC on the ropes and they were going for the knockout punch and could not connect. I know UCLA is thinking we had them dead to right and we should have finished them off. But at the end of the day, sometimes that happens in sports, man. Uh, you let a team linger long enough, they will get you, and they got them. So it's gonna be a good. This will be. I don't think it's gonna be as close or anything like that. This is gonna be a one-sided affair. UCLA will bring dominance back, and they will win this one, and they'll win this one pretty comfortably. No worries here. So with that said, Anthony, Michael Bullock, I should say, it is yours, my friend. I do believe the UCLA should bounce back and get a win.
Yeah, I see UCLA bouncing back and getting a win in this one. I mean, after a tough time last week for them, yeah, I see them getting back on the right track here. So UCLA wins. It's your Sporio.
The UCLA Bruins are coming off a heartbreaking 48-45 loss to USC at home in the Rose Bowl. The good news is that the Bruins should be able to rebound nicely against a struggling Cal team that's 4-7. UCLA has won 3 out of the last 4 in this series, including the last 2 in a row. UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be looking to improve from his 3-interception outing against USC last week. It was a bit uncharacteristic for the quarterback who previously threw just 4 interceptions all season. The Bruins offense shouldn't have too much trouble scoring on Cal's defense, which ranks 105th nationally in total defense. UCLA is a 10-point favorite against Cal. I think the Bruins can and will cover that, and Chip Kelly will have his first ever 9-win season in Los Angeles. UCLA, get right, bounce back, 42-24. UCLA over Cal. Final game of the Friday slate. And this is an MF special because this is the Battle of Florida. The number 16 Florida State Seminoles hosting the Florida Gators on ABC, a special Friday night ABC game. Doak Campbell Stadium, Tallahassee, Florida. Anish Shroff, Brock Osweiler, Taylor McGregor, they will have the call on ABC. Florida State opening up as a 9.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, we started with you. The Battle of Florida, number 16 Florida State hosting Florida.
Yeah, this is definitely another one of the long-standing rivalries with these two teams. I mean, they've had some historic battles in the past, but I think this one here, this time around, I think it's going to go to Florida State here. So I got the Seminoles winning this one. It's yours, Florio.
Although this game has been played consistently on Saturday of rivalry week, this one was moved to Friday in prime time starting the season. Although this rivalry doesn't hold as much weight this year compared to when both programs were powerhouses, it's still a heated rivalry. Florida State is having its best season under head coach Mike Norvell in 2022 and is riding a 4-game winning streak. The Noles' 8-3 season is his first season above 500 in Tallahassee. FSU quarterback Jordan Travis is having the best season of his career, having thrown for 2,526 yards and 21 touchdowns with another 5 rushing touchdowns. Meanwhile, Florida is struggling in Billy Napier's first season in Gainesville. The Gators are 6-5 on the season, coming off of a shocking loss to Vanderbilt last week, the first loss to the Commodores in 8 seasons. The one bright spot has been how quarterback Anthony Richardson has played. The Gainesville, Florida native has thrown for 2,351 yards and 15 touchdowns and rushed for 613 yards with 9 touchdowns. Rivalry games sometimes produce unexpected results, but I think Florida State has too much late season momentum that Florida won't be able to match. Florida State ekes it out. Give me Florida State in this one. 24-17. Florida State holds off Florida in the Battle of Florida. MF, this is an MF special here. Florida State. I know this is one of the many rivalries that you hold near and dear to your heart, so it's all yours.
Yeah, Florida State was always a good, especially in the 1990s. This was a bitter rivalry for a number of years. Like you said, it kind of doesn't have the same feel because both teams haven't been really good, but they are building. I know Florida State is definitely building something special in Tallahassee, but Gainesville, they're not as doing as good as many people thought they were going to do. So yeah, I totally agree with that. But I am with you guys on this one as well. I do believe Florida State will get the job done. They will win this game, and there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
We have one. Now we move on to the Saturday slate, and before we get to the big one, we're almost there. We have one piece of business to take care of before we get to the big one. Believe it or not, only 3 noon games on Saturday, believe it or not. Usually we get a lot more, but we have 3 in this instance. But we have to start it off with the number 1 team in the land, your reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champions, the Made in Georgia Bulldogs, hosting their in-state rivals, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, Sanford Stadium, Athens, Georgia, on ESPN. Bob Wischusen, MF's boy Dan Orlovsky, and Chris Budden, they will have the call. Georgia opening up as a 35.5-point favorite. This rivalry has been quite lopsided recently, as these two programs have gone in very different directions. Tech hasn't had a winning season since 2018, whereas Georgia has been either winning or playing for national titles consistently. So it's no surprise that Georgia has won the last 4 straight in this rivalry. Tech has been playing well under interim head coach Brent Key. His team came back from a 17-0 deficit to upset North Carolina last week. But Georgia Tech doesn't have what it takes to upset Georgia on Saturday. The Bulldogs are 35.5-point favorites, and that's likely how much UGA will win by before gearing up for the SEC championship game against LSU at Mercedes-Benz Stadium December 3rd. Easy win for Georgia, 42-10. Georgia all over Georgia Tech. MF, nice little tune-up for Georgia before their SEC championship game against LSU.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to be a nice little tune-up. It's going to be you kind of feel like maybe they'll be able to do something here, but honestly, I just don't see it. I think Georgia Tech will probably try to put up a little bit of a fight here, but Georgia is just too overwhelming and too unbelievable, too dominating and everything else. So no, I think this is Georgia's, and it's going to be an easy game, an easy win, and that's gonna be one step closer to their ultimate destination, which is college football playoff, and we'll see. So nothing more to say. Anthony, Michael Bullock is yours.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice tune-up game for Georgia before their SEC championship game against LSU the following week. So, and you know that their mission is to get to the college football playoff and hopefully win another national championship. So, I got Georgia winning this one. So, with that being said, Florio, it's time, my friend. It's time to preview what I think is going to be the game of the year in college football.
You ready, boys?
Let's do it.
And it's only fitting that good LMF Michael Fletcher will be starting off on this game. This, my friends, not only the game of this week, but like Bullock said, you could consider this the game of the year. Will it top Alabama and Tennessee? We'll find out. It could. You never know. It could. But I don't know. We'll see. But nonetheless, it has a game of the century type feel to it. The next noon game, it's big noon Saturday on Fox. The number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes hosting the number 3 Michigan Wolverines. Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe in Columbus. Big noon Saturday on Fox. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt. Normally it's Jenny Taft, but Jenny Taft's doing the World Cup, so Tom Rinaldi is going to be sitting in. So you got Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and the great Tom Rinaldi. Ohio State opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. All right, MF, it's only fitting that you start this off. Oh boy, I mean, I know out of all the games, whenever the Michigan schedule comes out, there's one game that you circle in blood red, and this is it right here. This is the game that you want every year, regardless of whether it's in the Big House or the Horseshoe. Last year, Michigan finally figured out the Ohio State puzzle. They solved the puzzle a year ago on a cold and snowy day in the Big House. But this time, you got to go into the Horseshoe and do something you boys haven't done there since the year 2000.
Yeah.
2000. And that is win. And this right here, you did it for me recently. I'm going to do it for you. The way it always has been. This is what the words main event were meant for. Because this right here is the main event. Brother, it don't get no bigger. And the big question is, MF, what if Michigan wins? What if?
If Michigan beats Ohio State, Michigan goes to the Big Ten championship game again, second year in a row. But more importantly, no matter what, they guarantee their spot into the college football playoff. Plain and simple. Michigan could still get in if they lose, but they would have to lose, it would have to be a heartbreaker in order for them to at least have a realistic shot. If they get blown out, there's no way they're getting in. There is a major concern, though. Blake Horn, their star running back. And he got hurt last week against Illinois. And there is a fear that he might not go on Saturday. That even put alarm bells in my ears when I heard that. Because if Blake doesn't go, I don't think Michigan wins. Blake is one of the heart and souls of that offense, and he's been a dominating force. As a matter of fact, he single-handedly downed Ohio State a year ago. So, yes, it's the Horseshoe. Yes, it's Ohio State Stadium. Yes, it is. It's that war between Ohio State and Michigan. Going into the season, I had, I've always heard about how great Ohio State was, how good they are, how good they are, how good they are. And again, I was getting a little annoyed because I was like, well, what about Michigan? They're the Big Ten champions. They got to the college football playoff last year. They knocked off Ohio State. We finally, we did all this stuff. Why are we not getting the respect that Ohio State is getting? Time after time, we've seen how Michigan has always answered the bell and everything else. And then there was a couple of games where Ohio State had a couple of missteps. And I was like, you see, that's why. Last week was the first time that I was like, oh, this is not good for Michigan. We took Illinois lightly, and we almost paid the price for it. So, and we did pay a price. We might not have our best running back going in. Our running backs are a little dinged up. If that's the case, that means J.J. McCartney will now be relied on even more heavier to run and pass. And against a really good Ohio State defense, that might be too much to ask. C.J. Stroud is on a mission to become the Heisman Trophy winner. He could cement it with a great performance over Michigan. Michigan has a really good defense. And I do believe more than anything else, this is going to be one of those type of games. Obviously, my heart says Michigan wins. But I got to be professional here. And I got to take all the bias out and call it the way I believe. If Blake Horn does not play, Ohio State blows out Michigan. I'm being real honest with you. I don't see a scenario where this could be a close fight. Offensively, Ohio State is stacked. Michigan is relying on a run attack like they did a year ago. If you don't have quality backs there and you become a one-dimensional offense, Ohio State will pick you apart like nothing. At that scope, I think it's going to be, I'll say about maybe 10 to 14 points. But Ohio State gets their revenge on Michigan. Ohio State wins this game on Saturday. So that's my prediction. Michael Bullock, it is yours.
This is what the total definition of what main event is. I mean, because Ohio State, some of the players that were on that team last year, they haven't forgotten about the heartbreak, of course, losing to Michigan for the first time in a long time. And of course, they are at home in the horseshoe. And yeah, that running back, I mean, it's going to be a key here. If he plays, I think they have a chance. But the thing is, in the history of this long-standing rivalry, we've always heard of somebody stepping up and making a name for themselves. So I could definitely see that happening. But let's all be real, guys. I mean, I'm going to say Ohio State wins this one, but I would not be surprised if Michigan goes into Ohio State and pulls it off. But I think Ohio State wins for 3 reasons. Number one, they are stacked offensively and defensively. Number 2, the revenge factor because of what happened last year. And number 3, because they are at home. They're not in Ann Arbor. They're in the horseshoe. So as much as I want to see Michigan make it 2 wins in a row over their rivals, I think Ohio State gets their payback. So it's yours, Florio.
For the second season in a row, the Big Ten East will be decided by Michigan and Ohio State. Last season, Michigan beat Ohio State for the first time since 2011, and went on to win the Big Ten championship. However, Ohio State is a 7.5-point favorite at home, and Michigan hasn't won in Columbus since the year 2000. Another reason the Buckeyes are favored is the status of Michigan running back Blake Corum. The Wolverines' standout running back left last week's game against Illinois with an apparent knee injury, although Corum has told reporters that he will be good to go against the Buckeyes. If he isn't fully healthy, as MF said, Michigan's offense will become one-dimensional. Outside of Corum, Michigan rushed for only 60 yards. Most people are picking Ohio State in this one for the above reasons, but this Buckeye team has blown out pretty much every opponent it's faced this year, with the exception of Northwestern and Maryland over the last 3 weeks. If Corum is not at full strength, this one could get ugly early. But nonetheless, as much as I want it for you guys, and I would love to see them do it, I really would. I got to go with Ohio State as well. It's been a very long time since Michigan has won 2 in a row against the Buckeyes. Going into my archives here, and Michigan has not won 2 in a row against Ohio State since they won 3 in a row against the Buckeyes, starting in 1995 and going through 1997, 95, 96, 97. That's the last time that Michigan had a winning streak against Ohio State. But it'll be a one-year wonder, I'm afraid. 38-30, Ohio State defeats Michigan. Even though I want it for you guys, I really do. And if you somehow, some way, find a way to steal this one, it'll be even bigger than last year. Winning at home in the big house was one thing. But going into their house, where you haven't won since the year 2000 and beating them, that's even bigger. That's an even bigger deal. All right. So with that said, let's continue on here. The final noon game features the number 8 Clemson Tigers back at home at Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina, Death Valley, hosting their in-state rivals, the Gamecocks of South Carolina, on ABC, high noon. Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Molly McGrath will be on the call. Clemson opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. So not much to say here. Thanks to South Carolina's upset win over Tennessee last week, this game looks a bit more intriguing. So there isn't much more to say here. Michael Bullock, come on in. Like I said, thanks to South Carolina's huge upset over Tennessee, this game just suddenly got intriguing. So, Michael Bullock, it's yours. Number Clemson at home hosting South Carolina.
Yeah, it could be intriguing, but the thing is, I think Clemson's going to be able to handle their business with their rivals, South Carolina. I mean, they couldn't be there for a little bit, but I just think Clemson is just too much. So I'm going with the Clemson Tigers to win this one. It's yours for you.
As I just said, thanks to South Carolina's upset win over Tennessee last week, this game looks a bit more intriguing. But this is still a rivalry that has been heavily lopsided to favor Clemson in recent years, with the Tigers winning the last 7 straight against the Gamecocks. Clemson cannot afford to slip up in this one either, with its playoff hopes still alive. If the Tigers can win the ACC championship game next week against North Carolina, there's a chance for the Tigers to get a playoff bid with 1 loss. If South Carolina wants any shot at upsetting Clemson on Saturday, quarterback Spencer Rattler will have to play like he did last week. Against Tennessee, Rattler threw for a career-high 438 yards and 6 touchdowns. South Carolina's defense has to play like it did last week as well. The Gamecocks limited Tennessee to just 5 third-down conversions on 12 opportunities. Clemson beat Miami 40-10 last week, but turned the ball over 3 times. The Tigers also had 3 turnovers in its win against Louisville the week before. If South Carolina scores like it did last week, the Tigers can't afford to turn the ball over to give the Gamecocks short fields. I would love to pick South Carolina here, and if this game was in Columbia, I think the Gamecocks would have a great shot at pulling off the upset. Unfortunately, this one is in Clemson, where South Carolina has not won since 2012. Clemson wins, late touchdown puts it away, 30-21, Clemson holds off a game South Carolina team. So not much more to say. MF, South Carolina with their biggest winning years after they absolutely obliterated Tennessee and literally knocked them out of the playoff hunt. Can they go into Death Valley and make it 2 big upsets in a row, or not really?
Not really. I don't see it, man. Especially playing in Death Valley, I don't see it. I think they're gonna give them as much trouble and everything else, but I just don't see the outcome there. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm gonna go with Clemson to win it. So nothing more to say. And uh, Florio, respect to you.
Yep. All right, we have a 3:00 game to get into. As this next one, it's the Battle of Kentucky. The now number 25 Louisville Cardinals on the road against the Kentucky Wildcats, Kroger Field, Lexington, Kentucky. 3:00. This will be over on the SEC Network. Dave Neal, Deuce McAllister, and Andrea Carter on the call. Kentucky opening up as a 3-point favorite. So let me see if I have any. I don't know if I don't think I have any. I don't think I have a prepared preview for this game. So no, I don't. Or maybe I do. Hold on, let me see. Actually, I do. Never mind. This year's clash for the Governor's Cup looks like it'll be a much better game than in past years. Kentucky has won the last 3 in this rivalry, and the games haven't exactly been close. The Wildcats have won by a combined score of 153 to 44. But for this one in Lexington, the Wildcats are just 3-point favorites. Louisville is having its best season since Scott Satterfield's first year with the Cardinals in 2019. Kentucky, meanwhile, was a preseason SEC East contender. Despite starting the season 4-0, Kentucky has dropped 5 of its last 7. Whether Louisville quarterback Malik Cunningham will play may decide the Cardinals' fate in this one. Despite Cunningham missing last week's game against NC State, Satterfield told the media this week that he is optimistic the quarterback can return for the Kentucky game. Cunningham leads Louisville in passing and rushing yards with a combined 2,108 yards and 19 total touchdowns on the season. If he's unable to go, his backup, Brock Doman, should get another start. But regardless, I got Louisville winning this game. My final score, 24-21. It's Louisville over Kentucky. So not much more to say here. MF, the Battle of Kentucky, the Governor's Cup, number 25, Louisville at Kentucky.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup because of the fact that you see that, yeah, it's all about how this is going to play out. And there's going to be, I don't think there's going to be much of a matchup here. I think Kentucky's just the better squad. So I think Louisville will obviously it's a rivalry game. So, Louisville is going to give them a lot of trouble and they're going to make it very more interesting than what it needs to be. But at the end, I do believe once this is all said and done, that it will be. I think it's going to be. Like I said, I think it's going to be Kentucky. They're going to win this game. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I gotta go with Kentucky in this one as well. So yeah, there's nothing more to add. So let's move right along, Florio.
All right, usually we get a lot of 3:30 games, but in this case we only have 2. But gentlemen, they're both big ones. First up, the Iron Bowl, the number 7 Alabama Crimson Tide hosting the Auburn Tigers, Bryant-Denny Stadium, Tuscaloosa. The SEC on CBS. You know who's working this as always: Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jenny Dell. Alabama opening up as a 22-point favorite. MF, you lead off on the Iron Bowl. Number 7 Alabama hosting Auburn. MF, are you there? All right.
I'll take it for a spin.
Yeah, Michael Bullock, you start. Michael Bullock, you take it. Auburn, Alabama in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, this is another one of the long-standing rivalries in college football, and of course, Florio, when you think the Iron Bowl, what's the one game that comes to your mind?
The greatest one of all time, 2013.
Oh yeah, and that's where the great Vern Lundquist, when he
Chris
went
Davis.
crazy.
Chris
What was
Davis.
that?
Chris Davis.
Oh man, that's a game that neither one of us will forget. But I don't think we're gonna get anything like that. I mean, Alabama. I mean, yes, they're not that same team, but look, they're still one of the top teams in the SEC, and I think they're gonna have no problems winning this one. So I got the Crimson Tide winning this latest edition of the Iron Bowl. So I don't know if Fletch is back. If
There he is.
he's back, so I think we should just give it to him. So Fletch, we're talking about the Iron Bowl, Alabama and Auburn.
Yeah, this is an easy call for me. This is going to be Alabama to win the game, and they're going to win this one going away. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, does Alabama have a shot to make to fight for the title and all this stuff?" No, they don't. I don't see it. I don't feel it. I just feel like at the end, it's not going to be what it will not be what we thought it was going to be. So at the end, no, I think at the end of the night, this is going to be one of those type of situations where, truthfully, honestly, the better team is Alabama, and I think Bama will get the job done. Nothing more to say. Floyo, back to you.
For the first time in quite a while, the Iron Bowl will not have too many national implications. Alabama is pretty much out of the playoff hunt with 2 losses, but still is a very good 9-2 team. Auburn fired head coach Brian Harsin earlier this season and is 5-6. Former Tigers running back Cadillac Williams is the interim head coach. This matchup has been a fun one in recent years. Last season, Alabama needed 4 overtimes to get past Auburn. In 2019, the Tigers upset the Tide 48-45. It seems unlikely that Auburn can pull off an upset in Tuscaloosa, but Williams will have this team up for this one. Alabama is a 22-point favorite, bringing the likes of Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs on offense against an Auburn defense that ranks 76th in total defense. If Auburn keeps this one close against a Tide team that overmatches them on both sides of the ball, perhaps he could make a case to be named Auburn's permanent head coach. Williams is 2-1 as the interim, but it is next victim. Bama wins 28-10. I got Bama all over Auburn. So there isn't much more to say on that. And now let's get into the other big one, the Civil War. Oh, here we go. The now number 9 Oregon Ducks on the road against the number 21 Oregon State Beavers. Reser Stadium, Corvallis, Oregon, on ABC. Dave Fleming, Rod Gilmore, Tiffany Blackman on the call. Oregon opening up as a 3-point favorite. MF, I'm going to give it to you here since Bullock had to take over leadoff duties for you. I stepped away. When was the last time the Civil War was this highly anticipated? It's been forever.
It's been forever and a day. Yeah, no doubt about it. Because the thing is that Oregon's in the last few years, the Civil War has been one-sided. It's been all about Oregon, and now, you know, even though the records do not match, and you would think, oh, Oregon should easily do what they need to do and do it again and win the battle, whatever you want to say. Oregon State is a very deceptive team, and they're going to be a lot more dangerous than usual. However, based off the track record and recent history, I just don't see Oregon losing the Civil War. So give me Oregon to win. It's going to be close. It might be tight, but I got Oregon winning the game. So nothing more. Willick is yours.
Yeah, I got Oregon winning this one as well. So yeah, so it's yours, Florio.
At 8-3, Oregon State is having its best season since 2012, and the Beavers have won 5 out of their last 6. Meanwhile, Oregon is 9-2. and looks like it'll play USC in the Pac-12 championship game next week. A big reason for Oregon's success under first-year head coach Dan Lanning is how well quarterback Bo Nix has been playing. The Auburn transfer has thrown for 3,061 yards, 25 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. Nix is fourth in the Pac-12 in passing, and he's rushed for 14 touchdowns as well. Oregon State has played well on defense this season. Through 12 weeks, the Beavers ranked 25th in total defense and tied for 27th in scoring defense, allowing just 20.3 points a game. Oregon is only a slight 3-point favorite to win on the road against Oregon State. The Beavers won the last time this one was played in Corvallis in 2020. However, I think this will be one of the best games of the weekend, but I like Oregon's offense to pull out a close one on the road. Oregon wins, high-scoring game, 38-35. I've got Oregon barely getting by Oregon State in Corvallis in the Civil War. So we move on now to, wow, we have more 4 o'clock games than 3:30 games, if you can believe it. 3 of them. And we move on to the number 4 team in the nation, the TCU Horned Frogs, back at home at Fort Worth, Texas, hosting the Iowa State Cyclones. This game will be over on Fox with Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams. TCU opening up as a 10-point favorite. Got to be TCU. I mean, just TCU is undefeated, but the Horned Frogs have had a pair of close games in the last 2 weeks. In Week 11, the Horned Frogs won 17-10 on the road at Texas on the ABC Saturday night game of the week. And then last week, TCU needed a 40-yard field goal in the game's final seconds to get past Baylor 29-28. TCU is a 10-point favorite going up against Iowa State this week. Although the Cyclones have won the last 3 meetings against TCU, this Iowa State team is having a down year. The Cyclones are 4-7, which makes head coach Matt Campbell below 500 since his first year in Ames in 2016. This game being at home should help TCU close out the regular season on a high note. The Horned Frogs have averaged about 46 points at Fort Worth this season. Iowa State's defense only gives up 16.5 points a game, so this one could be another close one for TCU. But I like the Horned Frogs at home here. 37-27, TCU gets by Iowa State, keeps this magical dream season alive. But MF, the last 2 weeks, they barely got by your boys of Texas. But last week, if that wasn't a miracle win, tell me what was.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And let me tell you, there's a lot of teams that was hoping to see that loss, and they almost got their wish. TCU almost knocked themselves right out of the playoff. And that's the thing. That margin for error is very, very, very minuscule. And if you don't, and I'll even say it, the committee was ready to dump them. They were ready to dump TCU right out. So that gives a warning shot to TCU that leash is very short and that slope is very steep. Do not make the same mistake again, or else you're going to pay the consequences. And that is that you will not be a part of the college football playoff if you lose from here on in. So the committee is looking for any way to get you out. You're just going to have to win out to get in. So I think that they will. I think they'll bounce back. And they're going to have one more major hurdle to walk over, and that's going to be the Big 12 championship game. If they get through that, they're home free. They'll be in the Final Four. But we'll wait and see how it plays out. Nothing more to say. Bullock, it's yours.
Oh, what's the game we're talking about here?
TCU and
Iowa State.
Oh yeah.
Iowa State.
Oh yeah, TCU. Oh yeah, TCU should have no problems with them, and I mean they just need to keep doing their thing, and if somehow if it ends the way they should, I mean they could be in the college football playoff, but we'll wait and see how the remainder of the season goes. So there's nothing more to say It's yours, Florio.
All right, and we move on to the next 4:00 game, which will feature the number 11 Penn State Nittany Lions at home at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. Their senior day, they're going to be hosting the Michigan State Spartans. This game will be over on FS1. Noah Eagle with Mark Helfrich. They will have the call. Penn State opening up as a 19-point favorite. I believe MF takes this one. So MF, number 11, Penn State, closing out the regular season at home against Michigan State.
And I do believe Penn State will win this game. I believe Penn State has had a very good season, no doubt about it. Just a couple of losses here and there, and that season could have been really, really special for them. But they do have something to build off for next year. They're definitely going to look really, really good. So yeah, Penn State should win this. Really, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got Penn State winning this one as well. I mean, there's no way on earth they're gonna lose on senior day. I just don't see that happening. So yeah, give me Penn State to win this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Penn State's 2 losses to Michigan and Ohio State earlier in the season knocked them out of Big Ten title contention. Still, the Nittany Lions have a chance to reach double-digit wins for the 4th time under head coach James Franklin. Michigan State, meanwhile, is having a very different season from the 11-2 one it had last season. Sparty is 5-6 and might miss out on a bowl game for the 2nd time in 3 years. Last week, Michigan State lost 39-31 to 4-7 Indiana. Michigan State won 30-27 in this matchup last season, but the Nittany Lions will be too much for a struggling Sparty team. Penn State wins 33-14. Next matchup, the other 4:00 game. The number 14 Utah Utes on the road against the Colorado Buffaloes. Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. Pac-12 Network, Ted Robinson, Yogi Roth on the call. Utah opening up as a 29.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, easy one for Utah here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an easy win for the Utes here. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Florio.
Utah has won the last 7 straight against the Colorado program that has been struggling in recent years. The Buffaloes have lost 10 out of their last 11, so it's no surprise that Utah is an almost 30-point favorite. The Utes will be looking to get a win after losing a tough 20-17 game at Oregon last week. Utes quarterback Cameron Rising threw a season-high 3 interceptions in the loss. Utah should win this one handily. Major get-right game for Utah. 52-13. Utah all over Colorado. MF?
Agreed. I got to go Utah. Nothing more to say. Let's move on.
Prime time, gentlemen. And we got 6 games left, and we have 2 7:00 games to get into next. And the first one features the now number 5 LSU Tigers on the road against the Texas A&M Aggies. And on the call for that one will be Joe Tessitore, Greg McElroy, and Katie George. LSU opening up as a 10-point favorite. Got to be LSU here. This one looks like a potential trap game for LSU. If the Tigers want any shot at making it into the playoff, the most important step is to upset Georgia next week in the SEC title game. They cannot afford to lose this one. LSU already has 2 losses, so a loss on the road to Texas A&M would kill any playoff hopes it might still have. The good news for LSU is that Texas A&M is struggling significantly this season. The Aggies are 4-7 and 1-6 in conference play. However, against the terrible UMass team last week, Texas A&M did win 20-3. Texas A&M has won the last 2 games in this series that were played in College Station. It seems unlikely that LSU will lose against the Aggies, but with head coach Jimbo Fisher squarely on the hot seat, a win over LSU would take a bit of heat off of him. Nonetheless, I think Jaden Daniels can have a big day running the ball against the Aggie defense that ranks 123rd in rushing defense. Easy win for LSU. LSU all over A&M. LSU wins 33-9. MF, LSU. This definitely screams trap game, but is it really though?
No, it's not. I don't even think so either. Even though LSU is gonna think, I know a lot of people are gonna be feeling that way about it, but I do believe when this is all said and done, I think LSU is gonna do it again. I think they're gonna get the job done. I think they're just a better squad all the way around. And I think they finally have learned, certain areas and and how to play and everything else. So yeah, I do believe LSU is gonna win this one. And yeah, as much as we would have thought that this would be a dangerous situation, I like I said, I don't believe it. So I got LSU winning it as well. And Anthony, it's back to you.
All right, MF, and you'll be leading off on the other 7 o'clock game. Michael Bullock has left us for the night, so
Yep.
I'm sure we'll have him back with us Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But anywho, let's dive right on in here. The next matchup, 5 games left on the docket. The other 7 o'clock game featuring the now number 22 UCF Knights on the road against the South Florida Bulls, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. This game, Taylor Zarzar, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang on the call. UCF opening up as a 19.5-point favorite. MF, UCF suffering an embarrassing home loss last week. Here's a perfect shot for a get-right game right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe it will be a get right game for them. So yeah, I'm gonna say it. I got UCF winning the game. There's really nothing more to add here. So Florio, it's yours.
All right, I've got this one in here somewhere. I know I have it. All right, here it is. This year's war on I-4 is not as highly anticipated as some of the previous year's matchups, likely because USF is currently, South Florida is currently riding a 9-game losing streak. The Bulls fired head coach Jeff Scott in early November and have been led by interim head coach Daniel DePrato. UCF has been a bit inconsistent this season as well. The Knights were 5-2 with losses to Louisville and East Carolina, but it looked like they could still play for a New Year's Six bowl after getting wins over ranked opponents Cincinnati and Tulane and improving to 8-2. But those hopes were dashed last week when the Knights lost 17-14 at home to a 3-7 Navy team. Yikes. UCF's offense, led by quarterback John Reese Plumlee, shouldn't have too many problems scoring on USF's defense. The Bulls rank 130th in scoring defense, allowing almost 41 points a game. A win over USF Saturday would give Knights head coach Gus Malzahn his 6th career 9-win season and second at UCF, with a chance to get to 10 with a bowl game. UCF wins. My final score, 41-20. UCF all over USF. So now we move on to 2 7:30 games. But this one right here, another one of our big games of the week. You can make an argument it's the number 2 game of the week. The ABC Saturday night game of the week, 7:30 kickoff, featuring the number 6 USC Trojans at home at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, hosting the number 15 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, they will be on hand for that one. And USC opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. USC put itself squarely in the playoff conversation with its big 48-45 win on the road in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. But thanks to the Trojans' loss earlier in the season at Utah, USC cannot afford to lose another game if it wants a playoff bid. That's why Saturday night's game against Notre Dame is so important. The Fighting Irish are 8-3 and already have a win over a top 5 team, upsetting and blowing out Clemson 3 weeks ago at Notre Dame Stadium. USC will likely be facing the toughest defense it's seen all season. Notre Dame is a top 20 defense, and it's given up just 17.5 points over the last 4 games. This game is also an opportunity for USC quarterback Caleb Williams to make his case to win the Heisman Trophy. Last week against UCLA, Williams played lights out, throwing for 470 yards and 2 touchdowns with an interception. He had a rushing touchdown as well. If Williams can put up those numbers against Notre Dame's defense, the award could tilt even further his way. If Notre Dame wants to upset USC, it will have to take care of the football. That might be a tough task, considering the Trojans rank first nationally in turnover margin at plus 20 and have forced 24 turnovers. Notre Dame has given up 13 turnovers on the season. The Fighting Irish have won the last 4 games against USC. And if this game was in South Bend, I think Notre Dame could have pulled off the upset. I really do. But I think this USC team is playing some of its best football at just the right time. This should be a very good game. And as much as I want Notre Dame to win, and believe me, I do, I like the Trojans here. I got to go with USC. High scoring, close game. But I say USC pulls it out. I'm going to say 35-28 USC holds off a very game Notre Dame team that has played so much better since starting 0-2. Since starting 0-2, they've gone 8-1 since that stretch, and they have played so much better.
Yeah.
And they will give SC a hell of a try in the Coliseum, but SC is just that damn good right now. So I got to go with SC. If Notre Dame were to steal it with the way they've been playing, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. But I just got to go with SC. 35-28. MF, I asked it earlier about the Civil War. It's been a long time since Notre Dame and USC has had a game with this much hype around it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like you said, it's all about the excitement and the hype. And like you said, I believe when this is all said and done, yes, I do believe that SC will be a good matchup. This is going to be a great game, but I'm with you, Anthony. I think USC is going to win this. So, give me USC to beat Notre Dame. I really got nothing more to say. So yeah, it's yours.
3 games left. We have the other 7:30 kickoff here that MF will start off. The now number 10 Tennessee Volunteers on the road against the Vanderbilt Commodores. First Bank Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. This game will be over on the SEC Network. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik will be on the call. Tennessee opening up as a 14-point favorite. MF, what could have been for Tennessee. I mean,
Yeah.
They beat Alabama in what was without a doubt the game of the year in college football. Then they lose to Georgia, which is understandable in Georgia. But what was that in South Carolina last week? That was, good grief.
That was a stunning outcome. That was a turn of events that none of us saw coming. And we all were like, oh my heavens, what did we just witness? And I think that was the biggest thing. We all were thinking, back of our minds, no way, no way, no way. And yeah, South Carolina's like, yes, we can do it. And we're about to prove it. And they took them out. And they flipped the heads on a lot of people. All the Tennessee folks were, man, they were looking for the Tennessee whiskey for all the wrong reasons on that one. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's done. Tennessee, I think they will bounce back. They'll get a win. But man, what could have been for them, man? That's all I'm gonna say about that. So nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Although Tennessee has had one of the best seasons it has had in several years, the Vols are coming off a very tough week. Tennessee got blown out 63-38 on the road at South Carolina and lost their starting quarterback and Heisman Trophy candidate Hendon Hooker to a torn ACL. It's heartbreaking for any team to lose its starting quarterback, but especially for Hooker, who was having an outstanding season. The good news for Tennessee is that the Vols are in good hands with backup Joe Milton. The QB has thrown for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns for the Vols this season. After Hooker went down against South Carolina, he threw for 108 yards and a touchdown. Vanderbilt will have a lot of motivation in this one. If the Commodores can upset Tennessee, Vandy will be bowl eligible for the first time since 2018. The Commodores upset Florida last week, 31-24. Even without Hooker, the Vols are 14-point favorites. I think Vandy will give Tennessee a fight, but this Vol team will still be too much for the Commodores. Tennessee wins this one 45-28. Tennessee outlasts Vanderbilt. So 2 games left. We have an 8 o'clock kickoff here. This one will be over on Fox. The Battle of Kansas. The number 12 Kansas State Wildcats at home at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas, hosting the Kansas Jayhawks. This game will be over on Fox. Tim Brando, Spencer Tillman on the call. Kansas State opening up as an 11.5-point favorite. I got to go with K-State here. Both of these teams are having successful seasons. Kansas State has 8 wins for the third time in 4 seasons under head coach Chris Kleeman. Kansas, meanwhile, is having a winning season for the first time since 2008 under their second-year head coach Lance Leipold. The Jayhawks will be looking to snap a 13-game losing streak to the Wildcats and the 2-game losing streak it's currently riding, including last week's 55-14 blowout loss to Texas. Kansas State's season has been impressive, especially considering that all its losses came against ranked opponents in Tulane, TCU, and Texas. For Kansas to break the streak against K-State, it'll likely need a big game from quarterback Jalen Daniels. Daniels, who suffered a shoulder injury on October 8, threw for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns with an interception in his first game back against Texas. While it would be awesome to see the Jayhawks beat the Wildcats for the first time since 2008, I think Kansas State has been playing too consistently well to drop this one at home. Close game, high-scoring game, but I think K-State pulls it out. 42-34. I got K-State over Kansas. Not much more for me to say. MF, Battle of Kansas. Kansas, K-State.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you, Anthony. I just feel like K-State, look, for what it's worth, you got to give credit where credit's due to Kansas. They had a promising season. It just didn't work out towards the end. K-State, definitely, you could even make an argument for them that they had something very promising, but some crucial losses along the way really doomed their season as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with K-State here. I think they'll win the Battle of Kansas, and yeah, Florio, 1 game left. It's yours.
And MF, you'll be starting off our final game of the night, Pac-12 After Dark, the Apple Cup. Here we go to close it out. The number 13 Washington Huskies on the road against the Washington State Cougars. Martin Stadium, Pullman, Washington, on ESPN as part of their Pac-12 After Dark. Clay Matvick, Rocky Boyman, Don Davenport will be on the call. And this game has the closest spread of the week. Washington opening up as only a 2-point favorite. All right, MF, close out the first ever TXN Sports World Football Feast with the Apple Cup.
Yeah, and the reason why that you're seeing a lot of the the score lines being that much closer in this one is because of the respect out of the rivalry more than anything else. Any other year, maybe you say Washington is a clear-cut favorite, but you're going into Washington State, you're playing a little more tighter, so this could be a lot more interesting than anything else. Even though I believe Washington will win this game, don't be surprised if Washington State steals it and wins it. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
This rivalry has been quite lopsided in recent years. Wazoo won this one 40-13 last season, a win that broke a 7-game losing streak to the Huskies. Although this game doesn't have Pac-12 title implications thanks to Oregon and USC sitting atop the standings, it should still be a good matchup. At 9-2, Washington is having its best season since 2016. The Huskies dropped 2 straight against UCLA and Arizona State earlier in the year, but have won their last 5 straight games. Wazoo, Washington State, meanwhile, has matched its 7-game win total from last season. The Cougars have rebounded from a 3-game losing skid by winning 3 in a row. If Washington State wants to beat Washington for a second straight year, it will have to stop quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Penix, who transferred from Indiana this leads the nation in passing yards with 3,869 and 26 touchdowns on the year. Washington State's passing defense ranks 97th, so I like the Huskies in this one. Washington wins the Apple Cup, close game, high-scoring game once again, 37-34, Washington over Washington State. So with that will put the bow on this first ever TXN Sports World Football Feast. Before we go, we would like to take this moment to wish all of you fine, wonderful fans out there a very happy Thanksgiving. Have a blessed day with your families. And as MF and I will, and Michael Bullock will, and we're especially thinking about the Woodson family right now during their difficult time, and we're definitely holding them in our thoughts and our prayers as well. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and I can tell you what we're thankful for. We're thankful for having the best fans in the world who have shown us so much support all these years, and especially after the hard year we've had professionally, that is. You already know the story with all that, but you fans have stuck with us through and through, and we cannot help but thank you all enough for that. So we're definitely thankful for all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. So with that, let's set the table here. MF, Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk. Here's the thing. Rampage starts at 4 o'clock. So is there a chance we could have an earlier start time?
Unfortunately, no. It's gonna have to be a 10:30 start time for this one. So we're gonna start at 10:30. We'll do 10:30 this time around. We'll do 10:30. We're gonna recap SmackDown Live. We're gonna do the, like we said, the aforementioned AEW Rampage, and
I'll start it.
Huh?
Rampage will start because it was at 4
Rampage will
o'clock.
start, SmackDown after that, and then we're previewing Survivor Series. And
Yep.
then from there,
10:30 Saturday.
Yep.
And then 10 p.m. Sunday.
Will be Survivor Series. Yep, the Survivor
10 p.m.?
Series recap.
Okay. All right, I got it from here. So, all right, so you heard MF. Of course, no show tomorrow because of Thanksgiving, so we will not be on tomorrow. We'll be back with you Friday night, 10:30 over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, for the Cerebral Smack Talk. We will review AEW Rampage and, of course, the huge go-home Survivor Series SmackDown from the Amica Mutual Pavilion here in Providence. Who will be the fifth and final member of Team Bianca for the War Games match? We'll find out. And then from there, we will also preview the Survivor Series. And then Saturday night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25, it will be the week 12 edition of NFL Saturday. We'll talk about the Thanksgiving games, and then we'll preview the remaining games of the Week 12 slate. There will be 13 of them. And then 10 p.m. Sunday night over on MX channel, Brace Fan 95, special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. It will be our complete recap of the Survivor Series War Games. And then we do it all again Monday night, Ridiculously Raw. Monday Night Raw. And in a condensed Tony's Take, I will only be reviewing NXT Level Up. There will not be an Impact Wrestling review because Impact Wrestling will be a best of show. It's going to be a best of Thanksgiving show tomorrow night. So there will not be an Impact review. It'll be just NXT Level Up. And then Wednesday night, 1 week from tonight, we will be back at our normal. We'll be back with our normal content, which is Wednesday Night Madness, NXT, AEW Dynamite. MF will have it, Brace Fan 95. So that's it. So until Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and especially the First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a very blessed and happy Thanksgiving today and a very blessed couple of days. And until Friday night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, keep it watching the first annual TXN Sports World Football Feast right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.